get back to Greece.
You know, it's when all those memories pop up on your phone that really.
That's
Yes,
what kills
yes.
you. That's right.
Well, it's so funny when you see other people in groups close together. You're like, whoa, why are they so close? It looks so
You're like, oh, that's
foreign
old.
now.
right.
Like that's an old picture.
Well, we're going to have a fun show. Athena Dion is
so
with us.
happy to have my sister
I am.
here.
Faye What is with us.
What a
We're
nice
gonna be talking about lots of fun things.
Yes, we are.
And
Masculine things. Very masculine thing.
Very masculine thing. We're going to talk about Home Depot. No, wait, that's lesbian.
yeah.
That's your Bed Bath & Beyond, huh?
Yeah, well, two of the three of us could, no, only one of the three of us can identify in that bin. All right. Got it. Got it.
Let's do this.
All right. Well, breaking Q news on Trump impeachment. Most Senate Republicans declare Trump's trial is unconstitutional. Here's what that means for a possible conviction. 55 senators yesterday voted to certify the details of the impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. This included all Democrats, but only 5 Republicans. This is a clear sign that no matter what is presented on the February 8th trial, the 67 votes likely will not be reached to impeach Trump. The trial looks like it will largely be symbolic of Trump's crimes against America's democracy. Also likely, it will set up the simple majority vote to try to prevent Trump from ever running for office again. So welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. Good evening. As I said, LGBTQ world, it is 7 p.m. Wednesday, January 27th, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. The world's first live daily queer evening news show, out of the closet and into the headlines on Q News Tonight. Well, thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is a live, unedited LGBTQ evening news show. So whatever happens, you're going to see it. This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ community from South Florida, America, and across our world. I'm your Queer News Tonight anchor, Al Ferguson, and tonight, let's welcome anchor Faye What? She's out, she's proud, and she's certainly loud.
Not that
She's
loud.
a Latina, yeah, very loud. She's a Latina to be reckoned with, half Puerto Rican, half Colombian, and 100% freaking Jersey. She is a radio personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel Faye What? Aiming to unite the L and the G in LGBTQ, she's also a board member at Unity Coalition, a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, and an animal advocate and the owner of Faye's Fur Family, dedicated to providing excellent service for your pets. Good evening, Faye.
Hola, mi gente. Happy to be here with my sis, Athena.
It's going to be great. And speaking of that, let's welcome anchor Athena Dion. She is one of Florida's brightest and most beloved drag performance entertainers. She is CEO, very official, of the premier drag entertainment company in South Florida called Dream Queens. She is Miami's very own Greek goddess and has dual hosting roles at the famous R House Wynwood here in South Florida, as well as summering and headlining at the famous Jackie O Resort in Mykonos, Greece. Good evening, Athena.
Good evening, y'all.
It's going to be fun.
It is.
Y'all. Ooh,
Y'all.
like
Hi,
music to
y'all.
my ears. Tonight we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ community, as you know, in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, January 27th. We begin by queering up the world. It's Holocaust Memorial Day. Why the LGBTQ community should remember. Well, today is Holocaust Memorial Day. While we may first think that this is a remembrance of the Jewish Holocaust at the hands of the Nazis, and you would be right, it's also a remembrance of the gay Holocaust that occurred. So at Queer News Tonight, we are proud to feature a news outlet partner, Pink News, as their CEO, Benjamin Cohen, had powerful reflections of the persecution of gay people by the Nazis. It is a somber reminder that the Nazis marked Jews with a star, but it's also a somber reminder that they marked 1930s and 1940s homosexuals with a pink triangle.
So much of today's LGBTQ culture stems from this time of pink, the triangle, oppression, and civil and human rights. 80 years ago, Hitler ordered the creation of a list of homosexuals who would later find themselves persecuted. The Nazis arrested more than 100,000 people for homosexuality, imprisoning half of them, including up to 15,000 in concentration camps. Many of those in prison died, some after sickening experiments by scientists trying to find the cure for homosexuality. Here are some of Pink News and Benjamin Cohen's powerful words on the persecution of gay people by the Nazis.
Quote, "If I was alive 80 years ago and living in Berlin and not London, my outlook would not have been looking good, and not just because I'm Jewish. Like some of those who found themselves in concentration camps, I also have a disability. I am gay." Unfortunately, when the Allies liberated the concentration camps, many of the gay people who were imprisoned were not set free. Instead, they were transferred to prisons, then under the control of the Allied forces. Their crime, homosexuality, something outlawed before the Nazis took power, remained on the statute book until 1968 in East Germany and 1969 in West Germany.
Unlike other victims of Nazi persecution, they were not offered reparations, and it took until 2002 for the German government to officially apologize for the Nazi crimes against gay people. Today, memorials to the Nazi persecution of the gay community are found in Berlin, Amsterdam, San Francisco, Sydney, and Tel Aviv.
Cohen continues, Holocaust Memorial Day, marked today, is the opportunity to remember all of the victims of Nazi persecution. The Nazis' rule of terror was an era that witnessed the single worst example of misery that humanity has ever inflicted on itself. Today, in my view, also provides moments of reflection for what happens still in our collective lifetimes and an opportunity to galvanize us never to allow the same persecution of minority groups to happen again. End quote.
As we consider Cohen's powerful words, Queer News Tonight could not help but think about the doublespeak we have watched in the last 4 years. Persecution of the trans community is just a single example. There was such a thing in 1939 called Jews for Hitler. There was such a thing in 2020 called Gays for Trump. We will remember, always.
We must never forget. That's the plain and simple truth. Thank you so much to Cohen and the Pink News. I was perusing some other articles that that were written on this, and incredible stuff, interesting stuff, sad stuff. You know, lesbians, bisexuals, and trans are also were also marked as well. And unfortunately, the research is not up on how many of them perished during this time. We will never forget.
It was strangely familiar during the last 4 years of the things you would learn about the Holocaust and the horrible crimes committed against humanity. And I think we did galvanize, and we did turn the other way and change history, so to speak. And hopefully we can continue to do so this never happens to humanity ever again.
You know, exactly. I congratulate Pink News and their CEO Cohen on helping us understand the importance of the remembrance of the Holocaust, specifically in the LGBTQ community. I also have to note, in having been to Germany so many times, that people and a country can change. Munich is one of the great LGBTQ destinations in the world. Berlin is one of the great LGBT cities in the entire world. So it is a change in the last 80 years. And while we're suffering this transition in America, we can turn and look on this day of remembrance of what will come in the United States to help heal. And that's what I will be thinking about today.
Next, we queer up entertainment. 22 LGBTQ plus books you absolutely need to read this year. At Queer News Tonight, we bring you the news of artists, painters, writers, photographers, and more that enhance our queer community. Tonight, we preview some of the top new LGBTQ authors and the books you should be aware of. These are the most anticipated LGBTQ plus books coming out between now and June. One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. One of the most anticipated books of the summer comes out June 1st. Kink, edited by R.O. Kwan and Garth Greenwell, comes out on February 9th. Girlhood by Melissa Phoebos. What a delight it is to read the new book of a writer you adore and be knocked out all over again. With Girlhood, one of the queer community's favorite writers, Melissa Phoebos has written her career best. Girlhood comes out on March 20th. Let the Record Show by Sarah Schulman. This is a political history of ACT UP New York. 1987 to 1993 is the most comprehensive political history ever assembled of ACT UP and AIDS activism in the US. Let the Record Show comes out on May 18th. Recent East by Thomas Grattan. It's a queer coming of age and beyond story that manages to avoid all of the usual cliches typically associated with the genre. It comes out on March 9th. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. Set in 1954, 17-year-old Lily must navigate her budding queerness and the Red Scare paranoia that threatens to tear apart her Chinese-American family. Last Night at the Telegraph Club published this week. 100 Boyfriends by Brontaz Purnell. Every sexy story possible is associated exactly as the title implies. 100 Boyfriends comes out on February 2nd. Filthy Animals. Filthy Animals by Brandon Taylor will come out on June 22nd. Sarahland by Sam Cohen. There's a Sarah who loves Buffy and writes fan fiction, and Sarah who is polyamorous, trans, and lives in biblical times. Sarahland is weird, wonderful, and unforgettable. Sarahland comes out on March 9th. The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. A love story about two young enslaved black men in the antebellum South is a hard premise to pull off. And yet, with The Prophets, Robert Jones Jr. wildly succeeds. The Prophets is out now. You can find the details of all these LGBTQ plus 2021 book recommendations on the author's social media or on Amazon. So let's expand our queer culture through the written word. What do you think, Athena?
I want to read.
Athena's like, I can't read.
I was trying to make a mental note. Go like, home and order that book.
Athena's like, is it on Audible?
Like, yeah. Got lost in a daydream there, sorry.
Yeah, did you come back or would you like to move?
No, I'd like to go back to the daydream, actually.
I read actually a summary of that, and it is quite an interesting summary of 100 different boyfriends and what they represent. One of the things I really love about this story is it's a reminder to me in the LGBTQ community, we have diverse culture. We are not all about singing on Broadway. We know that we do that well, but we do lots and lots of things in cultural entertainment really, really well. And one of them is to write, and the books that we have. And so this story to me is very, very interesting. I took notes when I read this story about many of the books that I want to zero in on for 21.
I just want to say how grateful I am to live in the U.S. where these books are out and available for any of us in the LGBTQ plus community. You know, in Cuba, this wouldn't be the same story. We're so blessed that we get literature that speaks to us, that is relatable, that is our story. So thank you to all those queer writers that have the cojones to put their stuff on paper.
Exactly.
We love your cojones. All right.
Apparently in 100 Boyfriends we do at least.
Can't wait to find out, honey. Let's queer up gay culture. 18 things straight people think are totally gay.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
I can't wait for this either. A new survey of straight males asked what words or phrases they thought could be identified with the LGBTQ community. While toxic masculinity and homophobia still plague the world, Queer News Tonight couldn't resist in sharing what the straight world thinks seems gay. So here's what manly alpha macho males out there may think. First, mysterious monoliths. Yes, you heard that correctly. And sometimes the mysterious monoliths really are gay. A small group of Trump supporters in California felt the need to take down one of those many mysterious monoliths that keep popping up all over the world because they believe Christ is king and that these objects are pagan monuments and, well, gay. Second, wearing face masks. So gay. Face masks have been proven to help in the fight against the spread of COVID-19, but apparently, according to people who still subscribe to toxic beliefs about gender, they also make you unmanly. A Fox Nation host tweeted, "Might as well carry a purse with that mask, Joe," and others from a virus that has already claimed over 400,000 plus lives in the United States this year alone. Eating breakfast.
Oh no.
Okay, while we admit brunch is very, very gay, you can take it from me, the simple act of eating breakfast at the start of your day shouldn't be a threat to a straight man's sexuality. It's healthy to eat a good, balanced breakfast every morning. WTF? Recycling. According to research reported in 2019, one of the biggest reasons so many men don't recycle or participate in other eco-friendly practices is that they are afraid of having their sexuality questioned by others for doing so. Okay, I think I've had about enough of what the straight men think. We still have a ways to go for that multicultural and diversity-embracing community we're all striving for.
Oh my God.
Breakfast? Breakfast seems gay.
Well, when it's in bed with another man, maybe it is.
Then it's a little gay. Or if you're eating your breakfast off another man, then it also could be a little gay.
And I think it's hilarious that Faye and Athena, they're both brunch queens, and so that's gay. But breakfast, I just don't get it. And recycling and mask hits a bullseye for me. Absolute bullseye. Why did we make it so political? That is the epitome of toxic masculinity. And this story is funny, but it's also true.
Okay, so gay people, then we're just good people, right? Because good people recycle, eat breakfast, wear their masks, all right? When I think of gay, I think of empathy, I think of wonderful, I think of colorful, I think of fun. That is what gay represents to me, you know? And gay is never a bad thing. Like when people are like, oh, that's so gay, that's just not it. Remember when metrosexual came out? Oh no, okay, right in the middle. That's like calling a girl bi. You know you're a lesbian. I mean, come on.
Metrosexual was created before Donald Trump.
That was a hilarious way to let straight men dress nice without feeling questioned.
All right. Well, I love the story, Athena. Thank you very much. And brunch is
the gayest thing on earth, yes.
Yes. All right. Let's queer up the USA. The Justice Department has revoked Trump-era memo justifying religious-based LGBTQ discrimination. This week, the Department of Justice revoked a last-minute memo issued by the Trump administration that sought to permit some employers to discriminate against LGBT prospective employees based on their religious beliefs. Greg Field, the acting head of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, issued a memo revoking one issued only a few days earlier under the Trump administration. The Trump DOJ memo had sought to limit the extent of a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision finding that prohibitions on sex-based discrimination contained in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 protect LGBTQ people from employment discrimination. According to the Wall Street Journal, the 23-page Trump-era memo said that the memo tried to carve out exemptions for employers that would allow them to discriminate against LGBTQ people without consequence if their religious beliefs opposed homosexuality. The new memo overturned everything that the Trump administration tried to accomplish.
Oh my God, how many things does the Biden administration have to go in and fix? I mean, okay. Have you ever had a puppy, right? And you think that he's trained, so you leave him in a room alone and you leave for 1 second to get water and you come back and the whole room is trashed? Mm-hmm. All right, that was Trump's presidency for 4 years, and Biden is having to Biden and his entire administration is having to clear it up. Of course they had to reverse this, come on.
I'm just loving waking up to news like this every morning instead of what it used to be. You know what I mean? Like, he repealed the trans serving in the military law. He's repealing this. I'm like, woo, this is great. Love waking up now.
That actually, that is a bullseye of why this last week has been so amazing. We're waking up to this kind of news every single day as opposed to the overnight 2 a.m. 31 tweets that the former president did. That's a bullseye in terms of what's going on in the world.
Next, we queer up the world. Norway slaps Grindr with a whopping $12 million fine. Here's why. Popular gay dating app Grindr has encountered a stumbling block as the nation of Norway has stuck the company with a $12 million penalty. The reason? Authorities in the Scandinavian nation argue that Grindr has violated privacy laws by not giving users control over their data. Grindr dictates that all users accept the application's policies, but does not disclose any information regarding sale of user data to a third-party company. The European Union has made the protection of user data a priority in recent years and has initiated a push to allow users more control over their private data. Bloomberg reports that because Grindr also contains information on the sexuality, gender identity, and sexual interests of users, it puts their privacy at particular risk. The proposed $12 million fine would represent about 10% of Grindr's yearly revenue. The Los Angeles-based company has yet to comment.
So I guess if we go to Norway, we'll have to do things like the old-fashioned way, not use Grindr. Al, can you remind us of what they used to do back then?
Oh my God. Athena figured out how to throw an age joke in on Grindr.
It's been a while since I've been here, baby.
Yeah, right. Pretty good. Pretty good. Oh, it's going to come back to you in a minute. Grindr's story here is interesting because the European Union has been much more aggressive on social media and media applications in terms of privacy. The United States, I am sure, in the new administration is watching this closely. And Grindr potentially is in trouble in that if they do not follow the recommendations in Europe and in other locations around the world that might be looking at what the European Union is doing, applications like Grindr could face serious consequences.
Okay, but remind me real quick, Al, Norway is not part of the European Union, right?
No, but
so mind your business. Why are you all in my cookies? I mean, no, come on, let's be real. And, okay, and I did the math. So Grindr made about $144 million last year. How about you guys use some of that money for good, Grindr? I mean, just saying, you know, like, Shake Shack, something like that. You know what I mean?
You got it right. It is all about the cookies.
I love cookies.
Yeah.
All
We're
right.
not talking about those kind of cookies.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Well, let's go ahead and queer up trans rights. Biden nominee Dr. Rachel Levine met with transphobic smear campaign. Watch this.
To the perpetuators of these and the perpetrators of these actions, if your apologies are sincere, then I accept your apologies. But an apology is the beginning, not the end, of the conversation. I call on you and all Pennsylvanians to work towards a spirit of not just tolerance, but a spirit of acceptance and welcoming towards LGBTQ individuals. As for me, I have no room in my heart for hatred, and frankly, I do not have time for intolerance. My heart is full with a burning desire to help people, and my time is full with working towards protecting the public health of everyone in Pennsylvania from the impact of the global pandemic due to COVID-19. And I will stay laser focused on that goal.
She better let them know. President Joe Biden made history January 19th when he announced the nomination of Dr. Rachel Levine to be his Assistant Health Secretary and the first openly transgender federal official. The choice of Levine, a pediatrician and most recently Pennsylvania's Secretary of Health, who earned high marks for her role in leading the state's coronavirus response, was celebrated by a number of health groups, elected officials, and LGBT advocacy organizations. However, some prominent figures on the right responded to the news by launching transphobic attacks against her. As example, and most notably, a Republican lawmaker from Pennsylvania, State Republican Jeff Pyle, authored a Facebook post mocking Levine's appearance. Pyle issued a general apology this week, posted to his now deactivated Facebook page, saying he had no idea the post would be received as poorly as it was, but that tens of thousands of heated emails assured me it was. He did not specifically apologize to Levine, however, or to the transgender community as a whole, but rather to all affected. Attacks on Levine have come from many in social media and traditional media, especially Fox News, surprise, surprise, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and Laura Ingraham in their summary of Biden's trans executive order policies.
This story is so incredibly important. First, Dr. Levine, historic nature of being the first trans individual to serve in a White House administration at this level. That is historic. But second, it reveals the transphobia, which is homophobia, which is phobic across the board. Put a minority organization in there, insert the blank of the name, and frequently that's what we watch in America. It affects Latina or Latinos, it affects Black, it affects religious minorities, it affects all of us. We must stand up against this kind of discrimination, and I'm happy we're doing this story. And Dr. Levine, gosh, you are going to be awesome for our community and for America.
And yes, she really is amazing. And I don't know why we were surprised at this story when it came to pile of you know what,
Blank.
right? I mean, like, you know, again, the old administration taught everybody that bullying was okay. So of course I can see how somebody can so easily do this. And you know what, Dr. Rachel, like the rest of us in the LGBTQ community, we know what it's like to be bullied our whole lives. We know what that's like. So we know how to stand firm and hold our own. And we've got your back, Dr. Rachel. We got you.
Yeah, we're here. Well, that's our queer headlines for today. Let's next catch up on the LGBTQ news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment that we call Quarantine Quickies. And we always report on the devastating effect that coronavirus is having on the American and worldwide LGBTQ community in the total number of cases and the total number of LGBTQ deaths that you are seeing here. Next, we're going to report that Happening Out Television Network helps support our LGBTQ community. An example is Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. And we're broadcasting from our permanent set here in supporting that partnership. The network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ religious broadcast in the world, with more than 30,000 watching every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. And then they go to Athena's Sunday brunch, which is very gay.
Very gay.
Remember, the broadcast is totally live. We encourage you to tune in, and our campaign of sponsorship proudly supports Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church. Watch this.
This is Damian Pardo, and I'm the chair of Forward Miami, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
We'd also like to thank our set designer, Concepto Modern Living here in Fort Lauderdale, for making this set in this amazing queer church campus possible.
Finally, we thank Queer News Tonight's hotel sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our host and guest stay at this LGBTQ ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
Well, we're going to end tonight's broadcast next with The Big Finish. These are today's silly or news that entertains the LGBTQ community. First up, in The Big Finish, Trump establishes the office of the former president in Florida, in Palm Beach. A new official office?
Okay, so if he's not on Facebook or Twitter and they took all those platforms away, how did he announce this new office? Did he just put like a sign in the window, "We're open"? Like, what did he do?
Who's gonna find out? Like, how did we find out about this? Like, how did we know? Who's reporting this?
It was carrier pigeon. Donald, from his early days, yes, from his early days when he was a kid, carrier pigeons. In The Big Finish, Congresswoman Liz Cheney blasts Republican male colleague, Representative Matt Gaetz, by the way, from Florida, as the male colleague of hers for wearing makeup. Yeah.
Well, she's still a Republican after all, isn't she? I guess.
And Gaetz is going to Wyoming to, or Montana, I've forgotten. One of those states up in the Pacific Northwest that is so anti-trans, by the way, that he is going to campaign to have her unseated because of her anti-Trump support.
Good. And me just being a bitch, how about this? You could use some makeup, Miss Liz. I mean, I'm just saying, your glam squad is not working today, so.
When he comes out prettier than her, maybe he'll beat her.
Well, I'm just hoping Matt comes out soon. The Big Finish. Mary Trump may change her name. Why? Because she doesn't want to share it with her loser uncle. That's what she said.
Can you blame her? I mean, seriously, if I had if my last name was Manson, I'd probably change that too, you know? I mean, nobody wants Trump as a last name except his ass-kissing daughter.
It's just sad she kind of looks like him, y'all. Like, I hate to say it, but they kind of look alike, don't they?
We're going to talk about it in Q News Tonight tomorrow. a giant banner has been flown up and down the beach today in Palm Beach County and in front of Mar-a-Lago, calling Trump the worst president ever and saying "loser Trump." A giant banner
over
in
his
front
new
of
office?
Mar-a-Lago, in front of the new former president's office in Mar-a-Lago. So yeah, I think you got it right. Who wants to be a Trump these days?
Can you imagine Trump looking up fake news, flying above?
Exactly. Well, finally, we end our big finish with some delicious food. And I'm holding up this incredible burger. I can't wait here. Queer News Tonight supports the Shake Shack fundraiser for the Pride of Fort Lauderdale's GED scholarship programs. It's been going on all day, Wednesday, January 27th. Shake Shack is doing this in conjunction with Pride Fort Lauderdale, and we've got some samples here for y'all. Faye, what do you think?
Sorry, let me finish this.
Athena?
It's face turn.
Wait.
I think it's you.
Yeah, all right.
All right, you girl.
Oh, that's delicious. Oh my God, so good.
Swallow, girls, swallow.
Me twice.
Teach me how.
Didn't miss a drop. That secret sauce is amazing.
Oh my God. Once you start, you just can't stop.
All right. Well, we are, Pride Fort Lauderdale is the sponsor of Pride of Americas, one of the most important Pride celebrations in the Western Hemisphere in 2021. We're waiting for Faye to swallow. It brings North America, Central America, and South America in a mega LGBT gathering here in Fort Lauderdale and South Florida.
So use code DONATION on the Shake Shack app from their Fort Lauderdale location, and they donate 25% of your purchase to support Pride Fort Lauderdale.
Wow, 25%.
Clearly, on behalf of Faye and Athena, who has consumed significantly, we want to thank Shake Shack. It is a perfect illustration of how our business community can embrace our LGBT community, and especially our 501c3 charities. Great job, Shake Shack.
Sorry. God, it was so good. Sorry. That is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news. We are the only television live video news that is out of the closet and into the headlines, and we need your support.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of anchors who have eaten quite a lot tonight,
Pan away from me. Pan away from me.
And Athena Dion, we'll see you daily and tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Good night, America.
Bye-bye.